Well, hello and welcome to the very first episode of AD and the MC. That's AD, Angrydad. I'm the MC, Shura Taft. Great to have you with us, mate. It's going to be a big show, as it always is going to be every week.
Good to be here, mate. I'm excited. I genuinely am excited.
Now, people know you from social media, really. That's where it all started, obviously on the prank show with your sons and the things that they've put you through. We feel for you a little bit. We don't often. Sometimes we like laughing at your misery. But this is more about your platform to get your views out there. We have a chat about things, and it's not always going to be pretty, is it?
It's never pretty. And who knows what we can expect, mate. Like anything could happen and probably usually will and probably does.
Well, let's get stuck into it straight away because we start the show each week with the dad lines. These are the big headlines of the news this week that have got your attention, and you want to start with one of the biggest dogs in the business.
Yeah, James Packer. I've actually followed his story with interest for a long time, actually. And I note now that he's been a board member of that Consolidated Press holding for 26 years. 26 years, he's done. He's thrown in the towel, and he's actually, I think maybe for once, and good on him, going to focus and concentrate on himself.
Is that right? Well, handed the keys to the kingdom from his old man originally.
He did. He was handed the keys. You're right. It's interesting though. You know, he spent 10 years fighting with his sister in terms of negotiating an outcome, clearly money based.
Yeah. It
makes you wonder, doesn't it? Was it all worth it? When's enough enough?
Well, let's run through. So where does the misery start for Jane? Where do you see the journey go? Because let's be honest, you get a bit of misery being married to Mariah Carey, as far as I'm concerned, what I've read and what I've heard about her.
Really?
No, seriously. I know it sounds surprising to you. No, she's apparently quite hard work. And how's her selling the ring as well, by the way?
Because she needs it. She needs it. How's it start? I think he puts huge pressure on himself.
Yeah.
If you look at the family, mate, Bullmore and Kerry, mate, they didn't accept mediocrity. And I've heard lots of stories about them, and some are true, some clearly aren't, whatever. But I reckon that pressure, he brought it upon himself. And he delivered, right? He took that 1.2 or 5 that his old man left him, and he's delivered. No straight line. There's been some ups and downs, etc. But, I often look at it and think, when's enough enough? If I had that, you know what, at some point you want to throw it all in. Why would you want to impact your health? Health's the most important thing. And, I saw today he's on a boat with Carl Stefanovic.
Well, that's one way to impact your health, isn't it? Are we talking mental health? I mean, that's the conversation around mental health. That's something that's really started, and it's clear now that people aren't afraid to say, I've got an issue.
Yeah, of course, and good on him for that. Yeah. You know what, at the end of the day, why hide from it? It's accepted. Pressure. This is a pressure on people these days, mate. It's intense. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire or you've got no money. And a lot of this pressure is brought on by themselves. People, I get that, and people cope with it differently. And, I'll talk to you about it in detail at another time, because that's not foreign to me, mate. It's a big story. And you know what? I'm happy to share it with you in the audience as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
So, again, never shared it, but happy to.
Well, that's the point of AD and the MC is actually for you also to, I guess, share some of these things that you can get off your chest. You get approached a lot on social media to talk about your stories. People come to you with their stories.
They do, yep.
So this is the perfect place. And in fact, we should say that we're going to want feedback from you guys out there who are watching, whether you're watching this as a vodcast or you're listening to it as a podcast, and of course across various social medias. We actually want that interaction with people.
Of course, mate, I'm happy to answer any question. What you see is what you get. And you know what, my whole philosophy has been, if you don't like it, stiff shit.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, what you see is what you get. It is what it is. I don't care. We're not here for a long time, mate.
No.
Plus, I'm 50 now, so...
I was going to say, I can confirm, having spent a bit of time around it, it is what you see, is what you get with the great man. Which segues nicely with that first story into the second story, because, of course, James Packer stepping aside.
Yep.
Maybe there'll be a woman who steps into the breach.
Well, isn't that topical too, actually, to be honest? And, why does gender have to come into any of these sort of discussions around roles, responsibilities, etc.? If I was a shareholder, and mind you, and this is hot off the press, only 11 of the top 200 companies, right, have women CEOs. And you know what? I don't care if there's 200. It's the best person for the role. Why should it be gender related? And why should businesses be challenged with stats that say by 2025 we should have 60% of management roles filled by females? Why would they cap it at 60? Why couldn't it be 100%?
But do you think in those cases they're going to take a female candidate who's less qualified and just go, we'll put her in?
Yes.
You genuinely think that?
100%.
I mean, come on. They're gonna go down the path. They're saying we want to engender this idea certainly in young women who are coming through, because the idea was never for women coming through business that there was even a possibility they could be a CEO.
Yeah, but why?
Because it was never done.
Yeah, I know, but historically what's happened and what's been proven is that women are as capable. So depending on the role, if they want to put in for it and they're the best candidate and they're going to deliver, see, all these companies have shareholders. If I'm a shareholder, I want the best return.
That's right.
And you're going to get the best return by having the best person in the role. Because even then when you do, lots of appointments fail, male and female. There's no guarantees, mate. So why would you just tick a box that says, I'm putting a female in, if you're not going to guarantee that you got the best person?
Yeah, I don't think that's what they're going for. I think they're going to say this is the best case scenario. We need more women. We need more women driven to do this. They're half the population. They are, as you said, as capable. Let's make this a possibility.
You know what? At the end of the day, the workforce, right? Employers have supported women in the workforce. Different when Sharon was working, let me tell you, right? And she was a policewoman for 10 years, and they've come a long way. Specifically, that's how she met me. She arrested me. No, I'm joking. No, it's come a long way, and women are supported when it comes down to kids and the like. And I tick, 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 tick. But you don't actually set targets based on gender just to tick a box to say that you're supporting females. Why wouldn't you have the top 200 companies? Why wouldn't you have 200 female CEOs? Well, fantastic if you're the best people for the job.
Well, they might.
I hope they do.
Watch this space with interest. Moving on. Now, you're someone that social media plays a big part in your life, whether rightly or wrongly. It's just how it's become, and it's, I guess, through partly what your sons have done with their channel, and now for your own business, and you've created this empire, the Orville family empire, if you will. So social media is no stranger to do. And how do you feel about this story that happened recently, guys out there? I don't know if you've seen it, about the Plain Bay, which was where seats were swapped between two people, and as the people behind jokingly said, this seat swap might be the love of their life. They end up filming these two people seated together from the seat behind, and it becomes a little blossoming romance.
I haven't seen it.
They've put it on Instagram, and the woman's now come out who's in the Instagram saying my privacy's been breached. How do you feel about that? Because your privacy's breached on a daily basis.
It's a tough one, and you know what? I think she's actually right. The cold hard reality is anyone filming that situation doesn't know anything about the people in this instance, right? Where they're from, what they're doing. People could be away with someone they shouldn't be away with. Like, there's a whole range of scenarios. So it's a tough one, because then it leads you into, if they're not public people, right, and should they be treated different if you're a public person?
So let's change that situation. It's Carl Stevanovic and his missus. Are you allowed to film him?
People just do and will, and Carl has expected that, right, to happen, and he's condoned it, right, and felt that he needs to for that reason. Doesn't mean it's right, though. It is a sensitive one, because, again,
everyone has a phone, everyone has the... And you know what, I reckon... I'd love people out there to put your hand up if you've never filmed someone in a gym who's wearing something funny, or you're at a cafe and someone's doing, like, we all do it now instinctively, and is it right or wrong? That's the question. Where does the privacy line get drawn? Yeah,
and again, it's a tough one, because what happens then, people deliberate about who the person is, what the circumstances are, and ultimately what the consequence is, right? If someone's been caught out, if it's a bit of banter, a bit of fun, and someone's just there, pretty much it just goes unnoticed anyway, and it's okay. Often what brings these types of things to people's attention is the situation or the circumstances. Yeah. That's when you don't want it to be there.
Well, we'll set a challenge to people out there. If you're ever near a KFC and you see Angrydad there, send us a photo.
You want to be quick if you want to capture. You get the chicken in your hand, mate, because it doesn't last long.
He only gets the breast, by the way. He will not mess with the wing.
How do you know all this about me?
Hey, moving on. Big news, of course. We had Spencer Tunick in town in Melbourne doing his shoot.
I applied for that.
Yeah. Turned away.
Oh, no, I didn't. You know, mind you, Mitchell, smart ass. He said, why don't you? Why? And I said, why would I? Classic. 12,000 people, 12,000 people applied for that, and 1,000 got selected. Nudity for the sake of art. If I actually was to walk up Chapel Street, Commercial Road, nude on a Saturday night, I'd get locked up. Mind you, there'd be a lot of people vomiting as well.
It's probably not. That's not art,
mate.
In its own form. But this is the point, mate. Is that
not art, mate.
You're making a joke at your own expense. But the fact of the matter is,
it's true though.
People do this because they want to say every body is beautiful, regardless of its size, regardless of its, you know what I mean? Like, it's about embracing the fact that every body is different. There's no perfect body.
It doesn't matter. You don't mean you have to take your clothes off with 499 other people on the top of Woolies.
Right, mate, you feel... Half the people there were actually...
I know, I saw some interviews and people were really liberated and saying it's the greatest thing they've ever done. They've never done it before. I don't know. Maybe it's supposed to be a 50-50 mix as well, mate. It was only 6 degrees there.
It looked cold.
So I reckon I reckon the mix would have been more female than male, just purely based on 6 degrees. If anyone actually, if anyone still looked like a male nude on the top of a building, you could see, they deserve to be a male.
You reckon there were a few innies?
Oh, 100%, mate. Seriously, like 6 degrees. Seriously.
It was a cold one.
You probably wouldn't
I
do
liked
it.
it. I thought it was good. Good
really?
for Melbourne. Good for art.
Why didn't you do it then?
I didn't get it.
You don't have to get asked. You could have applied. See?
Next time.
You actually didn't support
Next
it.
time.
No, you didn't.
I'll do it next time.
Okay, I dare to. There you
All
go.
right, there's the dare. You heard
That
it here
sticks.
first.
That sticks.
Oh goodness. Now there was something asked of a few people in terms of a poll in terms of brands. You saw this. This caught your eye. And why?
Oh yeah, it did. And why? Because number one brand, the most trusted brand, was Aldi.
Right.
Now, apparently, I think there's 4,000 people that were actually surveyed for 9 months. Coles and Woolies slipped out of it.
Not a huge sample size.
It's not a huge sample size. And I think there's like Bendigo Bank, there was Qantas slipped into 4th, NRMA. I don't know, like the sample size and the demographic of the sample, Aldi, they haven't talked to people that are 18 to 24.
Oh, they've changed their advertising, Aldi. I reckon their advertising's now kind of cool.
No way.
It's kind of interesting. And I reckon young people do shop at Aldi because you get bargains. Did you see the line the other day? People line up for like electric blankets.
I know they have
incredible sales.
One leading product to get people in there.
You know why they're trusted?
No.
Because they're not Coles and Woolies.
Yeah, well, maybe that's right because Coles and Woolies aren't even in the top 10. So maybe that's right. I wouldn't have thought, if I was actually looking at who would be a top trusted brand, say in the top 10, I would have thought you'd
Angrydad.
I thought you'd have Nike, ASOS, or a mix of something like that. Bendigo Bank.
No, they're a great brand, Bendigo Bank. They're very local.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're not a good brand, right? But I'm just surprised they're in the top 10, right? And I think it comes down to the 4,000 that they've surveyed. And it's not.
As we said, it's a fairly small sample.
It's not broad enough. It's not broad enough. So it caught my attention. I was blown away. Basically, it made me have another coffee.
Yeah, okay.
It actually did.
Now we need to move on to another segment, which is, of course, you are known as Angrydad, but also sometimes you smile. I've seen you crack a smile a few times, and we do a bit of Happy Dad. And I want to quickly touch on, it's been in the media all the last few weeks, but the Thai soccer team, this rescue, I know that made you pretty happy.
It did, because the outcome, you got to remember, these kids have got parents sitting there fretting, wondering, is Johnny going to come out, right? And Johnny, Benny, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's a great outcome as far as the kids and the parents are concerned. So I watched it with interest because, again, all parents have a vested interest. They trusted that coach, right, to take them away. For the life of me, I can't work out why the hell he actually would have done that. And if I was a parent, right, I would have shook his hand at the end of it, pulled out a red card, kicked him off, and said, mate, never again am I trusting you with my kid. Mate, high risk.
4Ks in. I don't think people realise the scale of it when it was all unfolding. The fact that there was 150 people in the cave, that they were travelling along, rope pulleys.
I know. I couldn't believe it.
The last few kids were given ketamine to make sure they were. It's huge, big time stuff.
Mate, and you know what? Hats off to every single person, every single country and organisation that contributed to do it. Because logistically, that's as big a challenge as anything. Because you're right. Again, I saw the cables and the ropes and all that sort of shit. It didn't just walk in there and grab them and pull them out. It wasn't simple. Amazing.
You'd be forgiven for thinking that only Australian people were helping out, though, wouldn't you? Looking at the Australian
media.
That's
the Aussie way, mate. That's the Aussie way. A bit of bias,
There's one doctor at 150, and we've done well.
Well, they couldn't ask me to help. I wouldn't have fitted through that last. There's one really sharp turn. It was a real hairpin turn.
Can I say, when they said that one of the caves was only 38 centimetres wide, which is something like the width of a school ruler.
Was it only 38?
I was like, AD, you're not getting through there, pal.
Is that right? 38?
38 oh my God, centimetres wide.
Oh, there you go. I wouldn't have entered in the first place.
I would have sat. Panic attack thinking about it, isn't it?
It does. Claustrophobic, mate. Claustrophobic.
And what else has made you happy in the last week or so?
I have to this is almost a bit of a plug, but when I say what's made me happy, and you were there, so you know full well, Camp Quality dinner, off the menu, done by Matthew Butcher, who's been an ambassador for 4 or so years. 187,000 they raised Friday night. What an event. Joey Ingles, some really high-end people went and supported it. Amazing. I was blown away with it, to be honest. It just keeps getting bigger and better every year. But aside from the money, and, I'm not going to... Some people were... Pretty well-known people were brought to tears when they heard the story of the parents and the 2 boys, Hayden and Ethan, right, who are young kids that have actually found themselves with this terrible disease.
Yeah,
And I'm telling you, to hear that story, everyone welled up, right? And the bond between the two mums who would never have otherwise met each other, right, was incredible. I made a point, and not because, for no other reason other than I wanted to and I needed to go and give them a kiss and a cuddle and a hug and just say, unbelievable.
Yeah. Very brave to share. I said to him, very brave to share the story, and basically, one of the things about Camp Crawley that's so amazing. This is not a play. I mean, there are so many great charities out there, but just so happened that we were both there on the Friday night. Is that it's as much about the kid with cancer as it is about the siblings who have to deal with the rest of their family. You know, the Camp Crawley looks after all of them, the family. So it was great, and I could see you with a big smile.
You know what stood out to me, actually, just on that point? When the parents said, because one of them had 4 kids, so 3 other siblings, one of them said, it's almost like she had to reintroduce herself to the other 3 kids because she didn't see them. Yep. And the kids are sort of saying, aren't you my mum too? Because all the focus is on the sick kid, and rightly so. And young kids don't understand that sort of shit.
Well, you know what touched a lot of people in the room, and you guys out there would know this, that Dylan Alcott, he's now just become an absolute superstar and one of the great people of the world. He's just a good bloke and has been through so much, and he openly says he wouldn't be who he was and if he didn't have the tumour on his spine and is now in a wheelchair. He actually said on the microphone, he donated his time as well. He said on the microphone, he said, look, my brother's the real hero, because when I was growing up, my brother didn't have parents because I was in and out of hospital. And this is the whole thing. Yep. So, good on him. Good on Joe Ingles for coming down. Chris Goulding, Sammy Groth was there. Olympia Valance. We had amazing names.
It was.
A lot of support, and $180,000.
$187
for charity is incredible. So.
It's amazing. And you know what? Next year, he's already aimed high. Butch, 250 is a target next year.
Well, who's in? If you're in, let us know. AD in the
We'll
MC.
keep you updated anyway.
Yep. Now, we've got to move on to a bit of AD advice. Now, you get asked a lot of questions.
I do.
People actually... I don't want to say this with an element of surprise. People want your opinion on things. People want to know what you think about stuff. This is why part of the reason we're doing this podcast.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because am I much travelled? Well, I'm a country boy. Look, maybe it's
You've
just
had an interesting life, though, mate.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, you've touched the sides of a few different areas.
I've touched the sides of a few caves I've tried to get in and out of.
You'd always.
I do. I get asked a myriad of questions, and I've actually started to show you some just to give you an insight into what actually happens through my DM and this, that, and the other. And I'm happy to answer them. And I answer just about everyone just because, I don't know, I feel an obligation to.
Yeah, well, we should say, at AD and the MC, that's our Instagram and all our channels. So get your questions in. If you've got anything you want some advice from the great man, definitely get in. But you've got a couple this week. You're giving some free advice to the people out there. So.
I am. And you know what? Something's going on at home, which is not unusual for our house, let me tell you. But
it's a moving feast in there.
I'm a little bit of a skeptic at times, right?
Yeah.
Every time I walk in the room, Hannah and Sharon are talking about something and they shut up when I walk in the room. And I've worked it out. I've actually worked it out. Mm-hmm. Hannah's actually going on some coffee dates, I think. And, of course, I actually is an inquisitive... I'm an inquisitive dad, right? I said, okay, so who is it? Whatever. Mind your own business. Shut up, mind your own business. What do you mean? So... why do young girls only consult their mum? So in an advice sense, what is that? What's relevant to that for me? Well, why don't they consult their dad, the young girls? We were boys once, right? So I reckon they'd be smarter, keeping your dad on side too, actually, but I reckon they'd be smarter consulting their dad. No, don't ignore your mum, involve her in it. I've been shut out, totally.
Do you think there's any chance that Hannah feels like, she... asks you a question and you're like, who is he?
Of course. She said, if I tell you, then you know what? You're going to annoy him or me. And
you'll search him on social media.
Mate, I just said, if you don't tell me who it is when he comes here the first time, he's going to cop a spray anyway. Yeah. He won't get past the letterbox.
You give a spray to the first one, the next 5 will never come round.
I said, unless he's rich. No, I didn't say that. I didn't.
And also, you got one other piece of advice for was it just aimed at the young people out there, or is this for everyone?
I think it's aimed at the young people because the whole product offering that I want to talk about is this whole, purchase now, pay later thing, right? And there's a range of different products out there. So this isn't about a specific product; it's about the process, right? We're all in enough debt, mate, right? And you know what? Young kids coming out of uni that still have HEX fees, etc. I'm actually staggered by the fact that they can actually go and secure something today, right, and pay for it in 4 weekly payments, equal payments, or whatever it is later on. If an afterthought, right, is what drives you to pay for something, right? And it's not a forethought, you shouldn't have it, you clearly can't afford
So you're talking
it.
about the afterpays, these kind of
Yeah,
like,
so you can actually go and buy a beautiful dress, pair of shoes, whatever you want, $100, $200, doesn't matter how much it is, you have to pay for it for the next 4 weeks.
But lay-by has existed for a long time.
Yeah, no, but you don't get the product till you paid for it.
Okay.
You get the product.
Oh, you're saying you don't like the idea that they get that product?
Of course, 100%. Because you know what? Once they've got it and they've worn it, they forget about the payment. And the danger there is, kids, money's too accessible as it is.
But this is the point, mate. This is the point. These things actually teach responsibility.
No,
And
they don't.
responsibility is, if you're going to get something and you're going to enjoy it, you have to pay for it. And if you can't make your payments, and this is the point of Afterpay, for example, is you make 4 payments and that's it. You only pay for the product. If you're late, then you start paying a fee. You pay more than the product's worth. Responsibility, mate.
Yeah, what if you don't pay? What if you actually don't pay?
Well,
Yeah, it's all care, no responsibility. That's what it is. I can tell you, this will come back to haunt people. I'm telling you now, it will. And I know the different companies have actually, gone through the roof in terms of their value because of the uptake. 2 million Australians are doing it.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere now.
Yeah, let's see. There'll be a bow wave here, man. I reckon there'll be a bow wave.
So you reckon this is the tip of the iceberg?
Absolutely. If you can't afford it, don't get it.
Yeah, but not everyone's in the position at that time to be able to afford something.
But cars and luxury items are high-end, different story. I get that because there's a more robust credit check, or you'd like to think there is.
Yeah.
We're talking about items here that might
like
be
a
$50,
PlayStation
$200. Mate, I'm telling you, it will come back to... These kids leave you alone.
They just keep calling you.
Oh my
Do
God.
they know you're working?
Oh, seriously.
Is he getting a phone call from his kids? Well, I reckon wait and see, but I actually think it's teaching responsibility, and we'll see.
No, I don't. Okay, let's park it. I'm telling you, there's a bow wave. It's going to bite people in the ass. Simple.
Right, moving on now to a segment we call Had a Gutful. And, we're not talking about you visiting KFC. It's actually things that have got up your nose and made you a little bit, angrier than normal. So what have you had a gutful?
Well, it's extremely topical at the moment, right? This supposed single-use free plastic bag. And I think almost actually had a bit of a rant to you before about it, but it just keeps getting momentum. Mate, this is not an environmentally driven initiative. This is a commercially driven initiative. Okay. 6 billion bags costs Coles, Woolies, and whoever else it is that's involved in it, right? About 100, and this is all out there, of course. 170 million purchase costs, right, to give away these supposed single-use plastic bags. Now, right, that 170 million saved straight into their pockets, right? Yeah. Straight into their pockets. Why? So why are they supporting?
But then they've got to make the other bags that are available.
Well, and sell them for 15 cents, and you can. Mate, I can tell you now. I've been in plastics a while ago, but those bags, given their volume, would cost them probably 3 cents. Let's say 5 cents, whatever. They're selling them for 15.
Yeah.
So there's a commercial opportunity there. It's a twofold win. Now they can come out and give away free, as they've done, to take away a bit of the heat, the pressure. You know what? It's commercially driven. It's not environmentally driven. 1%, not 5, 1%, right, of the world's litter issues is to do with plastic. 1%. What the real issues? What about carbon monoxide?
Are we talking plastic drinking straws, plastic bottles? Are you just talking?
It's quoted by some institute. I forget who it is. What it does, but it's plastics.
The Pons
general
Institute.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the Markle Institute.
Yeah.
It's 1%.
Can I say you actually sound like someone from your generation? If I'm honest with you.
Like, well, I'm 50, mate. So you know what? At the end, hey, and
I trust you to doubt this.
The thing is, there have been Aldis and the others, right? And this is in the Coles, Woolies,
South Australia, by the way.
People have actually, their business model didn't involve plastic bags from the outset. But that's fine. People choose to go there. The whole plastic bag thing is a massive inconvenience for people who have to be reconditioned. I've been shopping twice now, just because I got to keep. Sharon says, "Get me bloody lettuce, get me milk, get me whatever." No plastic bags. Yeah. So of course I have to buy them, and 15 cents, whatever.
That's like, suck it up, big boy. At the end of the day, you should be carrying a Hessian bag or one of those. It's not that hard.
No, Hessian bags I wear, mate.
It's not that hard. Yeah, take a t-shirt off and fill that up with.
You know what the whole thing is? I'm not a tight ass. I don't mind if I was contributing to a real issue, and this was actually going to make an impact. This decision, driven by business and government, I'd support it.
How can you not see that this is actually driven by impact? Because at the end of the day, they're pulling plastic bags out of the ocean. They're pulling them out of bloody
and they'll keep doing
seafoods like stomachs, like full dolphins and
mate.
They might keep doing it, but we're trying to cut down the amount that's out there. You're saying this is all commercially driven. At the end of the day, there is an outcome.
So people
that is
now
going to be good for the environment and good for the future for your kids, I
don't give a shit about my kids anyway. Only Hannah. But the thing is, you know what? People now have to go and buy other plastic bags to put in their bins at home because the other ones aren't available. So typically those bags will be bigger, they'll be thicker in terms of the amount of
single-use
plastic.
ones have gotten so thin now they break anyway. They're useless. They're one use, throw out.
No, they're not. They're not. You can clean dog shit with them, mate.
No, mate, I've had my
you can.
I've had my
You
finger
can.
through that bag a number of times.
Don't forget, sure. We tried this. We, being society, tried this 10 years ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
Didn't work. So all of a sudden, they were forced back into it. They're trying it again. Why are they trying again? Who knows? But it's not environmentally driven. Let me just tell you.
I'm going to put a poll on our Instagram, 18 the MC. Do you support this plastic? Let's have a look and
it's
see.
okay.
I want to see the breakdown. You sound like a 50-year-old.
There's a blue in a shopping centre yesterday.
Yeah, because people, like, how hard is it to change a behaviour? It's not that hard.
It is.
Go in with a
mate,
bag.
it's extremely hard.
You
Seriously, you're too young. You don't know. You
I reckon in a year or two's time, this will be a blip on the radar, mate, and you won't even care.
Go back to, you use disposable nappies?
Yes.
There you go. Go back to the old bloody, the old ones.
I
The wash one.
I don't want to.
Okay, there you go. There's a commitment.
Okay, when we all start doing that, maybe I will.
That's well, you can't look at it.
I'm
like
not
that.
against having poo on my hands.
Mate, you can't. Disposable nappies is a classic example, mate. They are a bigger contributor to the environment because they don't break down.
Yeah, all right, we'll see.
My turds don't anyway.
Now, we always finish every week with a little bit of a story. A bit of a story time, just to sort of round this out, a bit of podcast ending. And for AD, where's the story this week?
Again, we talk about messages and things, some funny, some smart, whatever. It doesn't matter, I don't care, I'm thick-skinned. But Sharon always gets out photo albums, right? And she got them out the other night, and there's some photos of when I was young, and Hannah put some photos up, and I actually put one up as well. I think I was 33. I was 33.
This is on Instagram or Facebook?
Yeah, on Instagram. Yeah. And anyway, so straight away, because I was sort of younger and fitter then than what I am now, and straight away it's people like, hang on, didn't you play AFL? Where are you from? What are you doing? So just to be clear, just to put it out there, yes. I'm happy to share as much as I can about me. I'm a country boy, right?
Yeah.
Come down here 16, clearly younger, better looking, fitter, and had a little bit of a run with the Pies, but played seven.
You played alongside Brian Taylor and
BT,
was Renee Kink there when you were there?
Kinky just left.
He just finished. Like some of Dacos?
Dacos was there, yeah.
Whew,
he was a
McGuan
Krasiska Dacos groomsman in my wedding.
Big names.
So there was a good time. I was there during the 1990 premiership. He didn't play in the medical room. They wouldn't let me out, but I had a bloody ball, mate. I wouldn't change anything. I would not change one thing. Of course, I'd like to have gone on and played a shitload of games, etc. But so I stayed here, 16.
Yeah.
I'm 50, and I stayed here, because I love it. I wouldn't go back. But was I tempted? Never. The country was good.
Mm. But where are we talking?
Oh, Hamilton, Western, Billy Picken territory.
Okay.
Yeah, Billy Picken. So. And
for those under the age of 50, Billy Picken will mean nothing to you.
Who else is Liam Picken? Liam Picken, his dad.
Yeah, Liam Picken. That's good. I was going to say he's an example of like a Darcy Moore.
It's Phil Walsh, who was tragically killed by his son, a Hamilton guy. So it's a great area.
Yeah.
But
never been tempted to go back.
Never been tempted to go back, mate. And so you get down here, and I was going to be the first person to play 500 games. Not really, but not really. But then I met Sharon and then focused, didn't play another game of footy from when I left Collingwood at 22. Mm. So it then becomes like the next phase of your life where it's like, meet a Sheila, have kids, buy a house, get treated like shit, and the rest history.
Get pranked by your sons.
And get treated like shit. So,
create a YouTube channel.
So yes, I did play footy, and I was younger, and I was skinnier, and I'm actually 136 kilos for those that keep asking me.
136?
136,
Put it out there.
So
what's the goal weight? What would be the ideal weight?
5 years ago, I lost 24 kilos. I got down to 108 was my lowest.
All right.
Swimming 2Ks a day I was.
Hashtag get AD to 110. I reckon 110, that's
110 would be fine. 110, but like it's...
We'll see. Got to stay away from the KFC, mate.
It's very
it's
hard,
on Deliveroo now. That's the worry for you.
Is it? They don't come to where I live. I should have told you that. They don't come to where I live.
All right, we're going to get out of here. This has been AD and the MC. A lot of fun, and we're just touching the tip right now. That sounded a little bit dirtier than it should have, but in terms of this podcast, it's going to get out there, AD, and we want to hear from you guys as well. Any questions you have, any thoughts, across all the forms of social media. It's been a lot of fun. And hey, we'll do it again next week. You ready?
Can't wait. Any questions, queries, hit me up, AD in the MC, or just DM me via Instagram and I'll make sure we come back to you with an answer.
You know where he's at. We'll catch you guys next time.